The sun rises slowly over Manila, casting a pale golden light on rows of tin roof houses pressed tightly together, like secrets no one ever asked to hear. The city wakes up early, not because it wants to, but because it must. Jeepneys roar through narrow streets, vendors shout to sell their goods, and the smell of fried fish mixes with dust and heat. In the middle of this restless city lives a boy named Juan. Juan is just 10 years old, but his eyes look older, eyes that have seen hunger, disappointment, and responsibility far beyond his years. He wakes up every morning on a thin mattress laid directly on the concrete floor of a tiny room he shares with his mother and younger sister. The room has no air conditioning, no decorations, and no silence. Only the sound of the city leaking in through broken windows. Juan's father left years ago in search of work and never returned. His mother works long hours washing clothes for wealthier families, earning barely enough to buy rice for the day. Some nights, dinner is only water and hope. But Juan never complains. He knows complaining doesn't fill empty stomachs. What fills Juan instead is music. Before school, or sometimes instead of school, Juan walks through the streets carrying a cheap, scratched microphone connected to a small, secondhand speaker. The speaker crackles when he turns it on, but Juan doesn't mind. To him, it sounds like opportunity warming up. He chooses busy corners, near markets, bus stops, or crowded intersections, where people are too busy to notice a poor boy singing. At first, no one stops. People walk past him with tired faces, coins clutched tightly in their hands, worries louder than his voice. But Juan sings anyway. He sings not because people listen, but because he has to. Every note that comes out of Juan's mouth carries something deeper than melody. It carries hunger. It carries dreams. It carries the pain of a boy who wants more for his family, but doesn't know how to give it, except through his voice. His voice is unusual, too powerful, too emotional, too big for such a small body. Sometimes his voice cracks, not because he's singing wrong, but because he's singing from a place too heavy for a child. He closes his eyes when he sings, imagining a stage much bigger than this dirty sidewalk. He imagines lights instead of street lamps, applause instead of traffic noise. Children his age run around playing games, laughing freely. Juan watches them from the corner of his eye, a small smile forming, but he doesn't join them. Singing is his job. Singing is his responsibility. On good days, someone stops and listens. An old woman wipes her tears and drops a few coins. A street vendor nods quietly. A foreign tourist records a short video. On bad days, Juan sings for hours and earns nothing. Still, he never stops. Because Juan believes something very few people around him believe anymore. Dreams are real. Late at night, after the city grows quieter, Juan returns home exhausted. His feet ache, his throat burns, and his stomach growls. His mother asks, "How much today?" Sometimes he answers with a smile, sometimes with silence. On nights when there is food, they eat together on the floor. On nights when there isn't, Juan tells stories instead. Stories of big stages, famous judges, and crowds chanting his name. His little sister listens with wide eyes, believing every word. His mother smiles, though worry hides behind her eyes. Before sleeping, Juan practices softly so he doesn't disturb the neighbors. He sings into his pillow, imagining it is a microphone worth thousands of dollars. He watches talent shows on a neighbor's old television whenever he can. One judge in particular captures his attention, Simon Cowell. Juan doesn't know much English, but he understands expressions. He sees how Simon looks at singers who are special. He sees how one moment can change everything. Sometimes Juan whispers to himself, "One day, he will hear me." The idea sounds impossible. Manila feels like a world away from America. Planes are expensive, dreams are fragile, but Juan holds on to that dream like it's the only thing keeping him standing. One rainy afternoon, as Juan sings under a broken umbrella, a man stops to listen. He doesn't clap, he doesn't speak, he just listens. When Juan finishes, the man says something simple, "You should never stop singing." Those words stay with Juan longer than hunger ever does. Years of street singing shape Juan, not just as a singer, but as a survivor. Every ignored performance makes him stronger. Every hard day teaches him discipline. Every tear trains his voice to carry truth. Juan doesn't know it yet, but the streets of Manila are preparing him for something much bigger. Every cracked note is polishing his soul. Every struggle is building a story the world will one day hear. And somewhere far away, under brighter lights and quieter rooms, a golden buzzer waits. Juan goes to sleep that night with the same dream he has every night, that one day he won't sing to survive. He will sing to be heard. The doors behind the America's Got Talent stage slowly open, and for the first time in his life, Juan steps into a world that feels unreal. The lights are blinding, brighter than anything he has ever seen in Manila. His heart pounds so loudly that he wonders if the microphones can hear it. For a moment, he forgets how to breathe. Backstage, Juan stands alone, clutching the fabric of his borrowed clothes. They are clean but worn, slightly too big for his small body. A production assistant kneels in front of him and smiles, asking if he's ready. Juan doesn't answer with words, he simply nods. His throat is dry, his palms are wet, but his eyes are focused. As he waits, he hears cheers from the audience inside the theater. Thousands of voices rise and fall like waves. Juan has sung in front of traffic, shouting vendors and indifferent crowds. But this is different. This silence before the storm is terrifying. Next up, a voice calls. Juan walks toward the stage entrance. Each step feels heavy, like he is carrying every struggle from Manila with him. He thinks of his mother washing clothes late at night. He thinks of his sister listening to his stories. He thinks of the streets, the rain, the hunger. And then he steps onto the stage. The audience sees a small boy standing alone in the center of a massive stage. The lights dim slightly, focusing only on him. A soft murmur spreads across the room. Some people smile politely. Others look unsure. The judges glance at each other. Simon Cowell leans back in his chair, arms crossed. "Hello," a judge says gently. "What's your name?" "Juan," he answers quietly. "Where are you from?" "Manila." "Philippines." The audience applauds politely. It's not loud yet, not emotional yet, just respectful. "And why are you here today?" another judge asks. Juan takes a breath. His voice shakes, not from fear, but from the weight of truth. "I sing to help my family. And because singing is my dream." The room grows quieter. Simon tilts his head forward slightly. "What are you going to sing for us?" Simon asks. Juan swallows. This is the moment. The question he has imagined 1,000 times while singing into a cracked microphone on the streets. "I will sing from my heart." The music begins. The first note leaves Juan's mouth, and something in the room changes instantly. It's not just a good voice. It's a voice filled with life. Pain, hope, and longing wrap around every word. His tone is rich, raw, and unbelievably mature for his age. The audience leans forward. Conversations stop. Even the cameramen forget to move. Simon's arms slowly uncross. Juan closes his eyes. When he sings, the stage disappears. The lights fade away. In his mind, he is back in Manila, but this time, the world is listening. Every note he sings carries a memory. Empty plates, rainy nights, kind strangers, cruel silence. His voice doesn't shake, it soars. Halfway through the song, a judge covers her mouth in disbelief. Another judge nods slowly, eyes wide. The crowd begins to react, not with cheers but with stunned silence. This is the kind of performance people feel in their chest. Simon leans forward now, elbows on his knees. Juan reaches the chorus, and his voice grows stronger, braver. It fills the theater completely. For a brief moment, the judges are no longer judges. They are just humans listening to a child who has something important to say. The final note hangs in the air. Silence. 1 second. 2 seconds. Then the theater erupts. The audience jumps to their feet, clapping, cheering, shouting. Some are crying openly. Juan stands frozen, unsure what to do. He bows slightly, his hands shaking.